Welcome back to Robinson's Auto, toolsandtime.com. We're back today with this 2005 Toyota RAV4 with the P0171 System 2 Lean. This is a quick recap from the short video that I did earlier this week. We were going over some freeze frame data that was collected during the time it tripped the code. When we got down to the long-term fuel trim, we seen that, yeah, there's most definitely a problem, 32%. So this thing's running super lean. There was some really good feedback in the comments. A couple of you guys said check the fuel pressure, mass airflow sensor, oxygen sensor. Many things that we could take a look at, vacuum leaks, brake booster, in all good directions. So we're going to start off first by checking the fuel pressure, because if we're low on fuel pressure, it's going to try to keep on adding fuel, isn't it? We're going to take and we're going to pop this clip up here. I already popped it with a screwdriver, but then we're going to take and separate this fuel line, because that's where we're going to put our gauge. Essentially what you're going to have to do when this is on there, you're going to take and you're going to push down, you're going to push in while you're pushing in, push down, and then pull out, and she'll come out. Now we'll get her adapter. All right. Fuel pressure is actually looking pretty good. Even when I get it to drop out, fuel pressure staying right around 46. So I got a couple more data PIDs pulled up. Got the front air fuel sensor in addition to the mass airflow. Take and grab this. As you notice, uses a air fuel ratio. It's not really a O2 sensor, even though they look identical. But you'll see that these work a little bit different, actually reverse. We'll go over this at some point. I'm just going to give it gas slowly. I wouldn't expect to see that mass airflow jump. Like it there. They're not too bad. I tell you, that sensor is pretty responsive, the air fuel sensor. That's almost 30 grams. I'm thinking about cleaning that mass airflow sensor. Alright, I got the mass airflow sensor unplugged. Always take and brush off the perimeter. You don't want dirt and stuff to fall down in there. I got this little drive set. Works perfect for these. Phillips head screwdriver. I'm just gonna get that in here. I got 2 screws. Pull them out. And I want you guys to take a look at this mass airflow sensor I pulled out. Looks like there's residue of some sort. Look at the side against, so this is going with the stream. So this is in there, the air is passing through this direction. See how it's caked with something? Look down there at the wires. Same thing, whatever that is all over. Sometimes the people put them K&N filters in these. Well, this has a brand new filter in it. It's not a K&N, but it makes you wonder. That's when I normally see stuff like this, is when it's an oil saturated filter of sorts. That's pretty nasty, pretty gnarly down in there. Using a CRC mass airflow cleaner along with a fine bristled brush. You see the world of difference. That's what I didn't hit the down here with the brush. I was trying to get the top of that bulb, that temperature sensor, with the hot wires and everything on there that were caked before. Pretty much I just sprayed those down and they cleaned up really nice. So this might give us a little bit more touch up. All right guys, we're out, we're driving this RAV4. Take a look at these fuel trims if you can, long term and short. So far I've been keeping them under 10. Actually right there was close to 0 because you want to, it's the equation of them both together. So if you have like a -3 and a +3, or a -5 and a +5, that's pretty much 0. The thing is that it fluctuates so much. I've been driving it now for about 45 minutes and I believe we ran all the monitors. We haven't thrown any code yet. This thing I believe will allow you to go up to 30% before it triggers a code for the fuel trims. And right now we've been, since doing the mass airflow cleaning, it no longer has that hesitation. It goes up hills with no hesitation. It dries fine, as you can see. Everything feels good. Let's take and jump on it one more time. Responsive, no more hesitation like we had before. So that mass airflow definitely needs to be cleaned. And I still think that mass airflow is lagging a little bit. I know this isn't supper of champions here, but I am starving. So I'm gonna stop in here. I'm gonna grab myself a bite to eat, and I'll be back to you shortly. All right, cold start, first thing in the morning. Trying to beat the glare on this. You see our long-term fuel trim around 4%, short-term -1. So we're in a much better acceptable range. You see the idle's up a little bit. So mass airflow reading is a little bit higher than once the idle goes all the way down. So I just got to where I was going. As you can see, our long term's right around 4.6, short term 0.7. So we're right around 6. We added the two together. I like to see those numbers a little better. As this engine warms up, the mass airflow sensor gets a little less appealing to me. As you can see, she's going into the red saying, hey, we shouldn't be this low, essentially. And our short-term fuel trim, she's starting to climb. If we have too many hiccups here, we're gonna set a code again. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna replace this mass airflow sensor. We'll take a read-in and see how it looks at idle. And in addition to that, maybe I'll put engine RPM. We'll do a little test here. I'm gonna bring this up to 2,500 RPMs, and we're gonna see where this mass airflow reading settles out at. What would you say, right around 7.5? Let's swap out that mass airflow sensor and see how she looks. We're gonna take it, unplug this connector. I got this icon set at Harbor Freight. I tell you, it's pretty neat. It's got a little ratchet that comes with it. You're gonna need a Phillips head. I let this engine get really warm for the first time. And that's when I seen the numbers really starting to skew. All right, so that's the old mass airflow that we cleaned. Nice newy one. Make sure that O-ring's seated inside. There you go. There's an O-ring on the perimeter here. You want to make sure that's sealed. Definitely don't want no air leaks. And that's another thing I did, guys. I went over this intake, went over all the hoses. When you're monitoring it, also activate the brake pedal in case the booster's leaking under certain conditions. because there's a few things that could cause a lean condition. Most commonly is a vacuum leak, which could be any one of your hoses, your evap system, brake booster, valve cover gasket. I took some combustible fluids and sprayed around as well, but I try not to demonstrate that too much. You can use water, you can use some kind of MAP gas or propane. There's people who use all kinds of stuff. It's all dangerous, you know. You can smoke test it, even better solution. Let's go take a reading. Hopefully start seeing some values come across our screen. 2.5, 2.6, 2.7. Okay, that's where I would expect to see it at idle. I don't want to see it dipping down into that 1 mark again. I'm hoping to see it, you know, they usually say around the displacement of the engine or a little greater is where you'd really like to see it. And then we want to see our short-term fuel trims start going down like we're seeing them. And hopefully we start seeing our, right now the fuel trims look good. It's actually starting to flatten out a little bit. First time I've seen the short-term fuel trim go to 0. That's the first time we're seeing that. Positive sign. Liking the way this looks already. So when you see the short term start going negative, you'll start seeing it pull down the long term, because it's going to try to find that spot. It's going to try to get into that happy place where the computer likes where everything's sitting. One way you could think about it is like a water skier that's getting towed by a boat, right? So you have your boat, right? Picture this car as the boat, and then you have the water skier behind it, just chasing all over the place, right? That skier, that's your short term. Now, if he starts getting off to the right a little bit, and that's where he likes to be, is off to the right, that boat may drift off to the right just to keep it straight. Most likely, maybe that's not the best way to explain it, but essentially, picture that person going back and forth, and the boat being your straight and narrow. That's essentially how it works. And then eventually it tries to work its way out. Fan just kicked on, so you're seeing the trims respond to that. Because it changes your idle, which changes your airflow, which is going to change some other readings. So this is the first time we've seen it below 5%, which I'm really happy with. We could let it sit here in idle, but what I'm going to like to do now is bring it up to 2,500 RPMs and see what our airflow reading looks like. Now we're over 8 grams when I get to 25. Now you've seen the fuel trim go negative. That's going to start pulling the long term down further. But again, it's going to take some time. But as you see, guys, those fuel trims look a lot better. We're almost ready to get this car through inspection. That's why I didn't want to run it too long. All right, guys, we're going to close out this Toyota RAV4, the 2005 model. Everything is looking good. All the monitors have cleared. She's went through inspection. As you can see, our long-term fuel trim sitting around 4.6 negative or 0. Seen it as low as 2, low as 3, but she hovers right around there. You can see her Airflow is reading much better. It's about as good as I get this one for now. As you can see, she's went through her misfire, fuel system, comprehensive, catalyst, evap, O2 sensors. We were able to get it through inspection, so we are good to go. Well, that's going to wrap this one up. I appreciate everyone that took their time and interacted with this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. If you like this content, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. Until next time, stay tuned.